Light weights or heavy weights? After all, what's best for building muscle after 40? That your body changes after 40 years old, you probably already know. Testosterone drops, recovery gets slower, joints start to complain, and that workout that worked perfectly at 25 can now leave you injured for weeks. And it's exactly in this context that the question arises: should I train with heavy weights to maximize gains or focus on light weights to protect the joints? The truth is that most men over 40 are training completely wrong, using the same approach they used at 20, which currently, at double the age, can mean total stagnation. That's why today you'll see the real advantages and disadvantages of each approach, without romanticizing either of them. Stay tuned, because I'm going to give you the realistic conclusion based on science and a complete protocol that you can start following immediately. Before we begin, please tell us through the comments your name and the city where you're watching our content from. We'd love to know. Let's start by exploring why so many trainers recommend light weights for men over 40. Advantage number 1, much lower joint stress. Training with lighter weights, typically in the range of 30 to 60% of your 1 rep max, distributes the load much more gently across all body structures. Your joints aren't compressed with extreme force, your tendons aren't stretched to the limit, and your cartilage isn't crushed under maximum pressure. This is absolutely crucial for men over 40 who may already have some degree of accumulated joint wear from decades of active living, physical work, impact sports, or simply the natural aging process. With light weights, you can work the muscles intensely through high repetitions without putting your connective tissues at risk. This means you can train consistently without developing the chronic pain and inflammation that eventually force so many older men to completely abandon training. Advantage number 2, fast recovery. One of the biggest advantages of training with light weights is that you can return to the gym much more quickly. While a heavy squat session can leave your legs destroyed for 5 to 7 days, a session with light weight and high repetitions generally allows complete recovery in 48 hours or less. This happens because, although you're creating significant metabolic fatigue with lactate accumulation and cellular energy depletion, you're not creating the same level of deep muscle microtrauma nor the same stress on the central nervous system that maximum weights cause. For men over 40, this faster recovery is a huge advantage because it allows greater training frequency throughout the week and month. You can train the same muscle group 2 or even 3 times per week instead of just once, which can lead to greater total training volume and potentially better long-term results. Advantage number 3, lower injury risk. With light weights, even if your technique isn't perfect, or if you get a bit careless in the last repetitions when fatigue hits, the consequences are minimal. You can have a small deviation in form, use a bit of momentum, or lose momentary control without causing a catastrophic injury. This creates a much safer and less psychologically stressful training environment, especially for men who may be returning to training after years off or who have anxiety about getting hurt. The increased safety also allows you to experiment with new exercises, explore different ranges of motion, and really work the mind-muscle connection without the constant fear that one mistake will leave you sidelined for months. For men over 40 who have professional and family responsibilities, not having to constantly worry about potentially debilitating injuries is enormous peace of mind. You can train in a more relaxed and intuitive way, adjusting as your body responds, without the pressure of executing perfectly, under loads that don't forgive mistakes. But not everything is roses when we talk about lightweight training. Disadvantage number 1, less mechanical tension. Here's the fundamental problem with lightweight training. It simply doesn't create the same level of mechanical tension that is the main driver of muscle growth. When you use only 40 or 50% of your maximum capacity, you're not recruiting all available muscle fibers, especially the fast-twitch fibers that have the greatest growth potential. The mechanosensors that detect extreme effort and initiate the muscle-building cascade aren't activated with the same intensity. This means that, compared to heavy training, you're leaving potential gains on the table. Studies show that you can build muscle with light weights, but the rate of gain tends to be slower, and the ceiling of how much muscle you can build may be lower. For men over 40 who are already fighting against natural sarcopenia and have reduced testosterone levels, using a method that provides submaximal stimulation may not be ideal if the main goal is to maximize muscle mass. Disadvantage number 2. Long and mentally exhausting sets. Doing 25, 30, or even 35 repetitions in a single set is a completely different type of challenge compared to doing 5 heavy repetitions. The last 10 repetitions become a brutal mental battle where your muscles are burning intensely with lactate accumulation, you're completely out of breath, and every fiber of your being is screaming for you to stop. Maintaining mental focus and determination to keep pushing through this metabolic pain for set after set, workout after workout, requires a type of psychological discipline that many people simply can't sustain long-term. It's mentally much more draining than doing a few explosive repetitions with heavy weight and then resting. For men over 40, who may already be mentally fatigued from work, family stress, and other life responsibilities, adding this type of mental torture to training can quickly lead to burnout and program abandonment. Additionally, such long sets are extremely boring and monotonous. There's no primitive satisfaction of moving heavy weight, the feeling of power and accomplishment that comes from completing a difficult set of squats or deadlifts. Disadvantage number 3. Need to train to failure. Here's the critical point that many people don't understand about lightweight training. To get the same muscle growth benefits you would get with heavy weight, you absolutely must train to complete muscular failure, or very close to it. Stopping 5 or 10 repetitions from failure when using lightweight means you're barely stimulating growth. The problem is that training to true failure in sets of 25 to 35 repetitions is extremely difficult to do consistently, especially when you need to do this across multiple sets, multiple exercises, multiple times per week. Most people simply give up before reaching real failure because the burning sensation and metabolic discomfort become unbearable. They convince themselves they've reached their limit when in reality they still had 5 or 10 repetitions in the tank. And if you're not actually reaching or getting very close to failure, you're basically just doing light cardio with weights, which won't build significant muscle. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress healthily long-term in the world of bodybuilding. Now let's explore the other side of the coin, heavy weights. Advantage number 1, maximum mechanical tension. Mechanical tension is the number 1 factor that determines muscle growth, and heavy weights create the highest possible levels of this tension. When you lift loads between 75 and 90% of your 1-rep max, you activate specialized proteins called mechanosensors within muscle cells. These mechanosensors detect extreme effort and initiate a cascade of genetic and hormonal signals that literally command your body to build more muscle tissue to handle that load. Additionally, heavy training recruits the maximum number of motor units possible, forcing almost all muscle fibers to work simultaneously. This means you're using your muscle's full potential, not just a fraction of it. For men over 40 who are fighting against natural sarcopenia, this maximum mechanical tension is fundamental not just to maintain, but actually build new muscle mass. The strength gains you obtain also translate directly into functional strength in daily life. Carrying heavy groceries, moving furniture, holding grandchildren on your lap become easier. Advantage number 2. Shorter and more efficient workouts. When you train with heavy weights in ranges of 3 to 6 repetitions, your sets last between 10 and 20 seconds, which is drastically shorter than sets of 22, 30 repetitions that can take over a minute. This means you can complete a full and effective workout in 30 to 45 minutes, including warm-up and rest between sets. For men over 40 who have professional, family, and other commitments, this time efficiency is invaluable. You get maximum results with minimum time investment. Additionally, shorter workouts are easier to fit consistently into your routine, and consistency is what really generates long-term results. Another underrated benefit is that shorter workouts generate less overall systemic fatigue, allowing you to maintain energy for other important activities in your life. You won't leave the gym dragging, feeling like you need to take the rest of the day to recover. And mentally, knowing you have only 40 minutes of intense work ahead is much more motivating than facing 90 minutes of high volume. Advantage number 3. Improves bone density. After 40 years old, bone density naturally begins to decline, a process that accelerates significantly in men after 50 and can lead to osteopenia or even osteoporosis if not combated. Training with heavy weights is one of the only scientifically proven stimuli that not only stops this loss, but can actually reverse the process and increase bone mineral density. When you place heavy load on your bones through exercises like squats, deadlifts, or bench press, you create controlled microfractures in bone tissue. In response, your body not only repairs these microfractures, but reinforces the entire bone structure, making it denser and more resistant. This is especially important for men over 40 because stronger bones mean lower risk of fractures in falls or accidents, something that becomes increasingly concerning with age. Additionally, improved bone density protects your joints and improves your posture, since dense bones provide better structural support for the entire body. But training heavy also has its prices. Disadvantage number 1, greater stress on joints and tendons. Here's the hard truth. After 40 years old, your tendons, ligaments, and cartilage don't have the same regenerative capacity they had at 25. Collagen, the essential protein that composes these connective tissues, is produced in smaller quantities and with inferior quality as we age. When you place very heavy loads on these already compromised structures, especially in exercises like deep squats, heavy bench press, or deadlifts, the risk of chronic or acute injuries increases exponentially. Tendinitis, bursitis, cartilage wear, and even partial tendon ruptures become real and significant risks. The problem is that these connective tissue injuries are not only extremely painful, but also take months to heal properly in men over 40 due to reduced circulation in these areas and lower protein synthesis capacity. A serious injury can keep you completely away from training for 3 to 6 months, nullifying months or years of progress. Disadvantage number 2, much longer recovery. When you train with very heavy weights, you're not just fatiguing the muscles. You're deeply stressing the entire central nervous system, connective tissues, joint structures, and creating extensive microtraumas in muscle fibers. At 20 or 30 years old, your body can fully recover from this stress in 48 to 72 hours. But after 40, this same recovery can easily take 4 to 7 days due to lower testosterone production, lower efficiency in protein synthesis, reduced circulation, and generally inferior sleep quality. This means you can't train the same muscle group with the same intensity more than once per week, which limits your training frequency and potentially your total gains over time. Additionally, if you push and train before being completely recovered, you enter a state of overtraining, where you actually start losing muscle mass and strength instead of gaining. Accumulated fatigue also negatively affects your work, your daily energy, your mood, and your overall quality of life. Disadvantage number 3, requires perfect technique. When you're lifting 85 or 90% of your maximum load, the margin for error in execution is practically zero. Any deviation in technique, rounded back in deadlifts, knees collapsing in squats, elbows too wide in bench press, can result in immediate and potentially serious injury. The problem is that as fatigue accumulates throughout the set or workout, maintaining perfect form becomes increasingly difficult. Your smaller stabilizer muscles begin to fail, your concentration diminishes, and your body instinctively seeks to cheat to complete the repetition by recruiting wrong muscles or using momentum. For men over 40, this risk is amplified because reflexes and proprioception, awareness of body position in space, naturally diminish with age, making it harder to feel when your form is deteriorating. Additionally, mastering perfect technique in complex exercises like deadlifts or squats takes months or even years of conscious practice, and many men don't have the patience or adequate guidance to develop this skill before starting to load heavy weight. The best approach for men over 40 isn't to choose between light or heavy weight, but rather to strategically combine both in an intelligent hybrid protocol. The recommendation is to follow an approximate split of 60 to 70% of your training with moderate weights, 20 to 30% with heavy weights, and 10 to 20% with light weights. This allows you to take advantage of the maximum mechanical tension benefits of heavy weight while protecting your joints and optimizing recovery with moderate and light volumes. The secret is knowing where to apply each intensity. Reserve really heavy weights in the range of 4 to 6 repetitions exclusively for big compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, bench press, and barbell rows. These multi-joint movements benefit enormously from heavy load, and you can maintain adequate technique even under fatigue. However, isolation exercises like bicep curls, tricep extensions, lateral raises, and any calf work should always be done with light to moderate weight in the range of 12 to 20 repetitions, as these are movements where it's very easy to cheat with excessive weight and very risky for smaller joints. The ideal weekly split for most men over 40 is to train 3 to 5 times per week, never less than 3 to maintain adequate frequency, and never more than 5 to guarantee sufficient recovery. An excellent structure is upper and lower body training 4 times per week. Monday, you do upper with heavy focus on compounds. Tuesday, you do lower with moderate weight to protect knees and lower back. Thursday, you return to upper but now with focus on moderate volume and lights on isolations. And Friday, you close with light, lower focused on hamstrings and glutes. This structure guarantees you're never doing everything heavy on the same day, overloading the nervous system and joints. As for total volume, aim for 15 to 20 sets per muscle group per week, distributed throughout the sessions. If you're starting or returning after a long period off, start with 10 to 12 sets and gradually increase. Rest time also needs to be religiously respected. For heavy sets of 4 to 6 repetitions, rest 3 to 5 complete minutes to allow nervous system recovery and muscle energy. For moderate sets of 8 to 12 repetitions, 90 to 120 seconds is sufficient. For light sets of 15 to 20 repetitions, 45 to 90 seconds. Older men who try to rest only 60 seconds between heavy sets are sabotaging their own results and increasing injury risk from accumulated fatigue. Progression should be conservative and intelligent. Only increase weight when you can perform 2 to 3 more repetitions than the minimum of the range with perfect technique. For example, if you're working in the range of 8 to 12 repetitions and manage to do 14 repetitions with the current weight, in the next session you can increase the load. Increments should be small, 2.5 to 5 pounds maximum, especially in upper body exercises. Don't rush. Slow and consistent progression over months and years is infinitely better than big jumps that lead to injuries. Periodization is also crucial. Every 3 or 4 weeks, focusing more on heavy work, take 1 or 2 weeks prioritizing moderate and light weights to give deep rest to joints and nervous system. If you enjoyed this and also want to discover the advantages and disadvantages of cardio and weight training as we age, we've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each of them better. Be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.